Chapter 2. A Day in the Life. When it comes to learning about any full-time pursuit that may be wholly and totally new to someone, there's nothing more informative and truly educational than seeing a day in the life of a full-time practitioner of that pursuit. Often, when we're curious about something or something fascinates us, we tend to envision ourselves doing it long before we have any practical examples or first-hand personal experience of that pursuit. Psychologically, that's very common. It is also very common that we romanticize that pursuit well beyond its practical reality. Remember the earlier example of our good friend, the wood-turning dreamer cum allergic to sawdust lathe owner? Yeah, that. Again, what you envision home voiceover work to be versus what it truly is in practicality is often as different as chalk and cheese. It's also very common to look at certain tasks or actions that you do have first-hand experience with and go, I do that already. Easy peasy. Without taking into account other factors that may make that same task wholly and totally different when considered in the context of a larger picture. I'm pretty sure you know of an example in your life, be it you yourself or someone you know, who got good at a given task and maybe even enjoyed doing it, and for one reason or another, became the go-to doer of that task, and, as a result, now thoroughly and utterly detests doing it. I can't remember where I heard it, but the old saying, repetition breeds resentment, applies here. But so too does the old Zen axiom, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The former statement about repetition is obvious. The latter, maybe not. Allow me to elaborate a bit. In Buddhism, the goal, for lack of a better word, and all practicing Buddhists listening to this just knee-jerked at me using it, is to achieve enlightenment, what most would define as a state of perfect balance, wisdom, and freedom from suffering. Before success at achieving enlightenment, life is merely a series of mundane, repetitive tasks that keep you alive and, hopefully, moving forward towards that goal. But what happens in this case after success? Yes, Buddhism of all sects has ancient apocryphal stories of people instantaneously being transported to some astral paradisical realm or transmogrified into celestial beings of light and all that groovy mystical stuff. But the majority of enlightened beings discussed in the Buddhist canon, especially Zen writings, simply live on in banal normalcy, hopefully, but not always, imparting their wisdom and experience to others, but maybe with a midge less worry about the future. That's it. They keep doing the same things they did before. They hopefully get old, then they die, and that's that. I'm a great marketer of the faith, ain't I? I digress, but the point is there. Even after success is achieved, the need to do the same old things as before is still there, still present, and still demanded. Even for the ascetic hermit on a misty mountain high imbued with new bodhisattva energy, you still gotta keep yourself from freezing and not dehydrate to death at a bare minimum. And so it is with any craft, art, trade, or other pursuit. The same old drudgery is there, waiting for you to do it. That's why a good look at the whole truth of a pursuit is helpful. Strip away any perception of glamour or excitement and see the reality of the day-to-day before you commit. As a matter of fact, the very act of doing so has famously turned into a form of edutainment itself, and brings up another big name in the voiceover realm. Now, most people would not consider portable toilet cleaning, sewer maintenance work, leech farming, or nearly anything else he ever wound up doing on camera as sexy work. But Mike Rowe showed you what it was actually like to do it on the long-running show, Dirty Jobs. Rowe had a true panache for making it fun to explore careers you didn't actually know were careers. But even so, he made sure you understood a bit more of what it really took to get a festival toilet, septic tank, or hog casing clean than you ever likely wanted to know. It was a great show, and helped promote the idea of good hard work in trades and manual labor at a time where most were focused on college degrees aimed at enjoying clean, white-collar careers. Interestingly, though, for all the muck, dreck, and animal waste he'd ever had to deal with through the 8 and change seasons of dirty jobs, Rowe admits that his life hadn't included hard manual labor as its backbone. Rowe himself is a college graduate, with a degree in communication studies and a background in the performing arts. His first regular stint on TV came in the early 90s as an on-camera host for the QVC shopping channel. "I was in the opera at the time," Rowe said in a 2008 interview. "I walked across the street with a buddy of mine during a performance. We're dressed as Vikings and we have a drink. The TV is turned to QVC. My buddy bets me $100 I can't get a call back. So I crashed the audition and got a job on the spot." Rowe might be most famously viewed as an on-camera host, but he's likely most notably heard as an off-camera narrator. At one point in time, he was arguably the de facto voice of Discovery Channel programming. American Chopper, American Hot Rod, Wild Pacific, and Ghost Lab, as well as other Discovery specials and series, all featured his rich baritone narration. But he is likely best known for his narration of Discovery Channel's cornerstone shows, Deadliest Catch, and How the Universe Works, as well as Sci-Fi's long-running paranormal investigation show, Ghost Hunters. Mike has been instrumental in helping folks understand what many invisible jobs require of people in order to get done. He's championed them, and he's made the doing of things and the people who do them visible. That bumped up his own visibility. But his other gig, narration, is really what he's a go-to guy for. In point of fact, Mike Rowe spends vastly more time behind the mic than in front of the camera. It's pretty fair to say that it's his bread and butter these days. But he's probably not setting up the shotgun mic, making sure the faders are all down except channels 1 and 4, and doing the editing and fielding a call from a rather angry client because their audiobook got kicked back at them due to his inability to understand root mean squares specification demands. I've now written a bunch of pages in this chapter already without getting down to what the title lays out. I'm pretty sure Mike's day is rather different from mine. Some are going to want to slap me for having the payoff be beans in your hand, but after I say this, remember that Jack went on quite an adventure with nothing but those beans. My average day can be summed up like this. 4 a.m. Wake up and regret the act of doing so. 4:30 a.m. Pour coffee into my face and pray it works. 5 a.m. Go into my studio and dive into emails. 5:03 a.m. Realize yet again that 98% of my emails are audition rejections. No, seriously, 98%. Real number. 5:05 a.m. Get on my job boards and search the latest talent calls. 5:10 a.m. Have a list of 10 or so jobs that I feel I may be a good fit for. Record auditions for each, edit them, send them off with CVs, client lists, and all the other dog and pony show elements. 5:15 a.m. Jump into a video discovery call with a potential client. Yes, at 5:15 a.m. The client is in the Middle East, and we need to get it to happen before the end of their business day. They blanch at my proposed budget, which is already generously low. But having them in my list of satisfied customers will likely generate more business, so I'm going to be forced to decide. Either stand my ground or bite my mic and take an even lower rate. It's 45 minutes of,
"We want the moon for $1 and an order of hummus."
It ends awkwardly. I've already mentally written them off, both my mind and my books. 6 a.m. Record and edit the next 2 chapters of the audiobook I'm currently working on. It's a horrible book, and it's tedious to read, let alone narrate. My teeth itch hearing myself read these ham-fisted lines. I push on. Remember, you know you can make this sound more interesting than it is. That's why you were hired. The pay is fair, and no matter what, I take the time and spend the energy to make the material breathe and come to life. I do it because it's my dirty job. And even if it's like reciting the phone book, I take pride in my work. 9 a.m. My narration voice is fried. My head throbs from the eye strain caused by staring at the squiggly waveform lines scrolling past my face, and my ears literally hurt to the touch because of all that time in the cans, also known as headphones. My brain is mush from the hyper-focused attention needed to both listen and watch critically. Due to the crap writing and me having to read ahead a few chapters to remind myself of an impending plot twist I have to sonically introduce soon, I have generated roughly 29 minutes of finished audio in 3 hours. I need to stop because I'm becoming really haphazard with my narration. My diction's all over the place and I'm making tons of errors that I'll have to correct. That drives the hourly pay rate down. Plus, in my read-ahead, I discovered I have a South African businessman character I need to voice soon and I need to research the accent, because me no speak Afrikaans. More than anything, I just need a flat-out break. 9:10 a.m. More coffee while I get 2 more rejected auditions on my phone. 9:15 a.m. Get on the main audiobook production sites and do the same hunting trip from earlier, only aimed at long-form narration, generally picking 5 titles I feel good about. The recording and editing for these auditions takes roughly 2 to 3 times as long. 12 p.m. My day's about half done. Notice I said, about half? Yeah, 7 hours in, and I finally get to take a semi-real break. I grab something to eat, talk with my partner a bit, and go turn on the air compressor in my shop so I have air in the event I get to go out and have some me time. 12:15 p.m. Now the real work begins. It's the deep dive time into the European jobs boards and P2P sites. We'll talk about those later. It's after business hours there, so whatever I send now will be waiting for shot callers and decision makers first thing in the morning for them. The hour hand on the clock in my studio means nothing to me. It's the minute hand that matters. So it's something past the top of somebody's hour. This is a global business. It's all about what time it is in someone else's time zone. 2:30 p.m. My email box explodes with a torrent of auto-generated audition rejections, all a result of the fact that I either wasn't their cup of tea or that the 1 or 2 auditions ahead of me were GED, that is, good enough dude, and they hit the cast button right before listening to my reel. I never even got heard. 2:45 p.m. One email in that pile catches my eye. It's an inquiry from a production site that I use regularly but have had very little luck with. It's a free site but seems to have a decent amount of traffic and a few VO compatriots use it. Interestingly, it references a title that I don't even remember cutting an audition for. That happens a lot. I've done over 10,000 auditions in the last 5 years. Without even diving too deeply into the email, I do a quick disk search of the title on my production computer and find nothing. I look at the email and it's an inquiry on a rate for a 110,000-word book, and they're contacting me because they were referred to my narration demo on this website by the author of the schlocky book I was narrating in the wee small hours earlier today. The author is the PhD mother of the schlocky one. She's a psychologist, so the material's probably even spelled right. They mentioned that they listened to the audition I sent their son and really liked my tone and read. Their book is in pre-production and she'd like to know if I've ever done psychology or medical material, and if I'd be willing to do a test read on spec, also known as for free, so she could run it by her publisher. I respond and request a discovery call with them tomorrow, but include my base rate in the email in the interest of full disclosure, and so as to not surprise them with it. 3-ish p.m. I wrap for the day. 11 or so hours is enough. 7:45 p.m. After dinner and chores, I'm pretty well wasted, but I need to update my website with new demo reels, bump up and freshen my socials, and do some file maintenance. Don't wanna, I do it anyway. 8:30 p.m. Bed and wood lathe videos. 11:35 p.m. My phone light is flashing a notification that one of my pre-programmed keyword searches on a large catch-all social website just sent me an automated email about a want ad. Blurry-eyed, I read the phone screen. A production company is looking for a 15 and a 30-second radio spot for an upcoming concert. The headline says, "Male VO needed ASAP." And the bottom of the email says, "Price is flex, willing to pay higher rate for faster turnaround," with lots of exclamation points. I shoot them my demo from my phone in a half-asleep manner, and, as usual, cut and paste my boilerplate, "If you get me some copy, I'll be happy to cut you a custom audition on spec so you can best decide if my voice is right for your project." I promptly fall asleep before I hit send. Our pug needs to see a man about a horse, and that gets my partner up, which wakes me again. And my phone leaning against my face reminds me to hit send. 11:37 p.m. My phone notification light is flashing. It's the exclamation point company again. They ask my rates. I tell them what my standard rate is for a 2-spot and what I'd consider a rush fee. As I hit send and close my eyes, I hear myself say,
"That's the last I'll hear of."
11:39 p.m. My phone screen flashes on with a painful face-punching brightness.
"They're calling me?"
My turn for the exclamation points. I grab my phone and stumble into my kitchen, answering on the way, trying to sound like everything's normal and they're merely interrupting my nightly meditation, yoga, Pilates Zoom gathering that I host for orphaned adult Nauru refugees. They say that if I can get it done within the next hour, they'll pay my rate and they'll double my rush fee. Also, they're willing to insta-pay me a 50% deposit to show good faith. They're desperate. The voice they hired for this session was just in a car accident, and they need the spot for their local morning drive time radio show for their demographic's top station. And if they don't have it, they'll likely lose concert sponsors. As a bonus, they like my voice better than their original hire. Poor guy. I agree and end the call with,
"Okay, I'm headed into my studio now.
Not untrue, my studio's right outside my laundry area door.
Shoot me your copy and do the deposit to the same address on PayPal and I'll bang this out for you."
Email lights go off, the deposit hits, and I receive copy that totals just under 100 words. I bang out 3 different reads of the material in both 15 and 30-second formats so they have some choice in the matter. I mean, it's a whopping 100 words, not what you'd call heavy lifting. The entire thing takes me 20 minutes. 5 minutes after I send off the files and the invoice, my phone rings again. They're thrilled. I'm their hero. They promise me more business in the future because
you're the man.
And my phone notifies me that the balance payment has hit my account too. 12 a.m. I flop into bed and near instantly fall back to sleep. The last thought in my mind helps make the remaining 4 hours of sleep seem actually restorative. I just made $400 in 20 minutes. $20 per minute? $4 per word? Either way, that ain't too shabby. See? I knew I could do this.